I am Mosk, and welcome to my Ironman. I will be starting up a series that is primarily based around this Ironman. I do have a few other accounts that I do play on under the same name, but I am starting this off. As you see, I have two bonds within the inventory that I traded over from my main account, and this is just going to be a series going through the Ironman game mode. I am not very good at it, at PVM at least, so I'm kind of trying to get better and just trying to work through that. Starting off with this video, I'm going to kind of get through the introductions with Tuarel, kind of go through that whole path, the beginner journey and unlock Surge. Those are going to be kind of the main points of where I'm starting off today. So welcome, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so that was level 5 agility, kind of starting it off as, again, most irons do, just getting Surge and Escape kind of opened up and made available for us to go ahead and surge around. So I'm going to start on the tutorial tasks and kind of get this beginning of the game all set and done. To take care of all of the, or most of the items on the activity tracker to kind of finish up with that. As you can see, I still have that Spirit Wolf available here. I think one of the main things I'm going to do is just start questing, get a few of these kind of easy quests done, and then I'll kind of decide after what I will be starting with. I think Slayer is going to be a big part of kind of getting my combats up, do, Cook's Assistant, all the, new quests, or the new person quests that do come out. So I think Cook's Assistant, Blood Pack, I'm going to kind of work through some of these, get some of the easier ones out of the way just to get some early XP and start kind of gaining on this, and I will come back when I have those items set. So the last clip I started was to kind of go get some quests done, but what I really want to do is I want to start off just sitting here for a little bit, get some agility, free agility XP, get the April Fool's event done. So I'm here with Django and Fabio, getting this done just to get some, like I said, free XP. What I found out doing this on my other account is you can literally just click and let this run. You actually don't have to follow along with this. Obviously, it would be a little bit quicker, but something AFK to do to get this taken care of before I start questing. Right now at level 5 from getting Surge and Escape, I still need to set up my bars, so I think while I'm doing this, I may copy them over from my other account, and there is 6 agility. Alright, so as you see in the chat screen, I did just finish the event with Django. I ended up getting up to 14 agility, which is a really good start for this account. Agility is one of my least favorite skills, so it's just easier to go ahead and get that done, make it a lot easier. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is getting quests started. I know in 2 clips ago I said that I'm going to be starting quests, and then I got distracted by Django. During that time that I was sitting there AFK, I did end up starting to get my ability bars set up, so when I do change over to, let's say, a wand and a book, I have the ability bars started. So 7, 8, and 9 seem, I may have confused myself here, but I'll get this set up properly so when these switch over, it will be available to have all my magic abilities. I am going to get those from my other account to just set up. I do need to set up my keybinds and kind of get that all squared away. Inside of my bank, I am trying to keep it clean. My bank on my other account seems to be getting filled up with random junk. I think I have cleaned it up recently, but I want to keep this organized, want to make sure that I have everything where it needs to be. So I'll be keeping this as tidy as possible. I know I have some miscellaneous things here, but as we go forward, I'll make sure to keep this clean so everybody can see what is going on. But right now, I'm going to start off with either some mini quests. I did filter these by the shortest to longest. I just want to make sure that I get all of these things done quickly. I know there are some better quests to do immediately, but I'm not playing this as efficient as I should. This is kind of a passion project. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on Sheep Shearer. I know it's not going to be a very long quest, but I just want to get it done, get that 2,000 coins, and some crafting XP. The end of the Sheep Shearer quest, I am now going to start on Blood Runs Deep. I just want to get those kind of quick quests, the ones right around Lumbridge done, and that is crafting level 5. I know that crafting is going to be a huge piece of the kind of Ironman gameplay because of invention. I know you need 80 in smithing, crafting, and divination, so I'm going to kind of focus on those. I know that there is the option to do some Gathixian caches, which I'll be doing some of those to try to get those divination pieces to make all this much easier. But I'm going to go ahead and start, not Blood Runs Deep, I apologize, the Blood Pact. I knew it was something along those lines. So I'm going to start that and get that completed, and I will show you after that's completed. The end of the Blood Pact. One of the biggest reasons why I did this is you kind of get some pretty good early game weapons. So, Kaylee's Charge Bow as well as Caitlyn's Staff. Pretty much just automatic air runes for us to use. And just until I get a better staff and bow, I'll just be using this. The Combat XP lamp does give us a little bit of, all of the combat combat skill XP. So using that, I did get some Balls of Wool from the last quest. I know that there's a lot that Balls of Wool are used for in questing, but right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to head on back down to the catacombs and start to work on some combat skills. I think I'm going to be mainly focused within range. I know Necromancy right now is kind of overpowered, so I'm going to use it. Most likely I'm going to get the Bone Shield spells and the incantations. I know that that's really, really useful, especially if I don't want to be shield switching. So using that is going to be a huge thing. I know that for range, I'm going to need to get my fletching and my wood cutting up. So I may take a minute before doing more quests and finish up all of these daily challenges. So I will let you know in the next clip. All right. Up all of those kind of beginner challenges, and we ended up getting daily mining, daily smithing. So I want to either get up to iron or kind of start working towards getting to iron weaponry and armor. So I'm just going to sit here and mine a few copper and tin ore. Maybe I'll just do a full inventory of, a split between the both, so 14 of each. So I'll work through that and make sure that we kind of get all of our challenges done today. I know with Ironman we don't have a ton of, the different items that we can get from here because of being an Ironman. But what I'll do is I'll go ahead and, start this up and kind of work through that. So just going to AFK maybe 12 of them instead of the 14 because I like to do things evenly. So I'll go ahead and work with that. Getting 3 mining levels from one of those challenges is really good. That did get us up to the 100 milestone of levels. Not super important because that's kind of a quick adventure when you're starting off. So I'm just going to keep everyone posted. I may do them in hundreds, and once they start getting closer to being more difficult, I'll kind of make those a little bit closer milestones. All right, so I am sitting here doing some bronze arrowheads. I actually finished my daily smithing challenge so I can heat bronze faster, which is great. So I'll just be sitting here finishing up this inventory of arrowheads so I can get some fletching levels as well. The all the challenges are done except for daily crafting, so that mining and smithing one is all set. So I'm just going to go ahead and either make some cowhides into leather or something along those lines, maybe get some coins for them, just sell them. I am getting these smithing and mining rucks, so I know that I'll need to go ahead and enter those in. That's another big thing for us, so I'll head over to the museum in Varrock. I'll get that lodestone over there as well so that I can start handing these in, getting some nice drops of XP from those. Ended up getting my equipment done, so I'm just going to claim that reward, which boosts us up to level 10 crafting. I am going to start off by selling off these, and then going to start to fletch these arrow tips into bronze arrows so that I can get my fletching up a little bit. I want to upgrade to the next bow, which is the quick bow, but what I'll do is I'll start to get towards the oak short bow and just kind of work with that. I kind of want to stick to bows. A lot of my ability bar is set up for bows, so I'm just going to go ahead and give that a try. Cast level 10 woodcutting, which allows me to cut down oak trees and use an iron hatchet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this inventory. I'm going to head down to Lumbridge and pick up a iron hatchet from Bob's Axes. I'm going to keep going on the regular trees until I get the fletching level to go ahead and work with oak logs. And then I'll kind of focus on those until I get the option to make a oak short bow and kind of go from there. Tour here, I did just get 10 mining. I can unlock the iron pickaxe, but I did realize I had the dwarven army axe in my bank, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some lapis lazuli as well as the wooden knots to make the wooden brooches and sell those to the general store for a little bit of early game money. I know it's not a crazy amount, but I will need to buy a decent amount of feathers to fletch these. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead, get a few of these, maybe just one inventory, and make those into brooches to sell to the general store. I think when you sell them, they may be, what, $3.75 each. So again, not a crazy amount, but just a little bit to get us started. I did end up just checking into how to get the quick bow. I thought it was a drop from kind of just low-level monsters, but it's actually picked up by this guy Gudrick, who you can travel to Ashdale with. I'm guessing to start that Ashdale questline, but it also gave us a bunch of free armor, as well as the Keen Blade and the Mind Spike. So what I just did is I picked up all of these. We ended up getting the Amulet of Potency and the ring as well, which not many bonuses, but at least a few of them. So just pick those up. I'll probably be using those until I get something better. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on with all of my fletching and woodcutting. Alright, so that is level 20 in fletching. These bronze arrows ended up taking me a lot farther than I actually thought they would. But we do have kind of a good start for fletching. I'm still only level 7 range, so I can't even use that oak short bow yet. But what I will be doing is finishing up these bronze arrows. I'm going to get myself one and just make it into oak short bow so that I have the availability to do that. And I'll do that now, get that strung, because I do have the levels. I think I have the availability to make some willow stuff as well, and it does look like I can make the willow wood box, but I'm going to go ahead and just make this oak shortbow so that I have that for when I do reach level 10 ranged. Well, cooking got a few levels up here, but I did forget how awful an inventory of food is when you are below, 10 cooking. But I'm just getting some food so I can go through White Wolf Mountain. I did die there already, so I think that's just part of what happens with these low levels. You kind of get trapped in it, but I'm just going to go ahead and cook up the rest of this food and get enough to make it over the mountain. Clock tower here for another quest point and 500 coins. I'm just going to be focusing on a few of the quests. I know I didn't do Cook's Assistant first, which was kind of odd, but I'm going to start up that and then do a few of these other ones just to get them out of the way. Worked on the quest. I am kind of going to switch gears. I'm going to move to just doing some of the area tasks for Lumberage. A lot of these are super easy to do, so I'm just going to go ahead and do these, and I think for the rest of the day I'm going to do some Slayer, just try to get some more money. I only have 2,400 gold, so that is all I own. So right now I'm going to go check in right here because that is someone that I need to talk to for an achievement. So I'm going to go ahead and do pretty much all of the Lumberage easy. I think I'm going to try to do some of the RD ones as well. I think that's going to be a good start for me to kind of move this account along. It's kind of another, Ironman staple. So let me go ahead and do these, and I will show you after I get them done. Right, so I finished up a lot of the beginner Lumberage ones. I like to take off the show completed. Sometimes it kind of drives me crazy just seeing a bunch of the finished ones. So I am going to be doing the Restless Ghosts, super easy quest to get done, and it will finish up these beginners. I just thought about it. I may want to try to get my herb lore up a little bit. I also kind of want to start farming because I know it's kind of a big deal for, getting some herbs. So kind of going forward with that, I want to get some more herbs and kind of work towards getting Guams unlocked. So I'm going to get that taken care of, and during my Slayer task, probably or hopefully pick up a few seeds that I can start planting and getting all of these started. I know Torstals are going to be huge in the late game for getting overloads and even overload salves. So I'm going to try to start those as soon as possible. Obviously, that's a very long way away, but I just want to keep that in mind from going forward. Right now, Slayer level's 8. I do have frogs unlocked. I do need to get some sort of lantern. I'm going to look up where to get a good lantern so that I can go down into the Lumber's Swamp and get those taken care of. But right now, just going to be finishing up Restless Ghost, and then kind of continuing on from there. All right, I just finished up the Lumberage beginner tasks. I got the Restless Ghost finished, so I'm just coming over to Explorer Jack to pick up my first ring. So getting that ring as well as a 500 XP lamp, I believe is what it is. So I'm going to try to use this on Herblore. Like in the last clip I said, it's going to be a pretty important piece of kind of us moving forward right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. We got up to 12 Herblore, and I do want to get the dig site done pretty quick, so I'm going to look into what that has in store for us. I also realized that I didn't start up Anachronia, which I know is a huge piece of content. So I'm going to go do Anachronia and see what I have for the dig site. I may just start archaeology as well. I'm standing here with Irwinson. This is the guy that I don't want to say start Big Game Hunter with, but he is essentially part of Big Game Hunter. I did finish the introduction to the base camp. I'm just waiting for my, I think it's stone and clay or stone and pottery to come in to build the lodestone. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up the archaeology tutorial so that I can get started on that. That's going to be a huge part as well. It gives you things like the passive effects. Obviously, you know, the Luck of the Dwarves is part of the relic capabilities. Persistent Rage is a huge one that I do want to get. Same thing with Luck of the, not Luck of the Dwarves, Fury of the Small, where it gives you more adrenaline per hit. I think that's going to be really useful for some of the range abilities that I'm going to kind of want to tag into. So for the Slayer, I think I'm going to do that a little bit later on. I think I'm going to work on archaeology, and then kind of after I finish up with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started on Slayer. So I'm going to make sure I unlock that, get started on Slayer, and go from there. All right, so coming to an end of this archaeology tutorial, going to get this taken care of. I'm also going to get Anachronia finished up so that I have the lodestone over there. I did check the requirements for dig site, and there is a 25 thieving requirement. I'm going to try to find the best way to kind of get my thieving up to 25 as an AFK kind of skill. I do want to make sure that I get some Slayer done so that when my main focus is going to be range, I can get kind of a dark bow a little bit later on and kind of work with that. I'm not going to really focus into rushing invention, but it is something that is on kind of the back of my mind, so I want to make sure that I'm working on some smithing, some divination, as well as some crafting. I don't want to let that sit by the wayside until I'm 80 in all skills without those being up there, so it is going to be something in the front of my mind. But for right now, I am going to sift this soil. I may have to talk to her again. I forget. The last time I did this was during the start of archaeology, right when it came out. So I'm still learning again, I would say. But we'll get this finished and kind of go from there. 14 hit points and 11 range, which ended up bringing me up to 15 combat. Doesn't really unlock anything, but it's a start to the combats. I'm just doing Slayer right now, or I should say I'm trying to get a candle lantern empty right now so that I can put a normal candle into the lantern and make sure that it doesn't explode while I'm down here. And I'm going to use it from now on as well. So one thing I did want to mention, I don't know if anyone knows this or everyone knows this yet. I learned this from, I believe, Nooblit. He was talking about it too. If you have more than one light source in a dungeon, it actually makes it brighter. So maybe hard to see on camera, but with one lit, it gets kind of dark. You light the second one, it gets a little bit brighter, not too much, but it's, you know, a little bit, don't have to strain your eyes too much. So I'm just going to continue on until I get this. I think it's a 1 in 128 drop, so it's not that common, but the XP from these is not bad, and it's good for range XP. I may just try to do some of these frogs over here, try to find a good space where I don't get hit with the you know, explosion of the candles or the explosion of the gas, but I'll see how that goes. And I think this may be it for this video. I'm just going to kind of sit here, and there's 12 defense. I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to try to find it, maybe just work on some of these frogs over here so that I can kind of finish up this Slayer task and get the next one from Jacqueline, start gaining some Slayer points. 4 times this video, but this is where I'm going to wrap it up. I have 4 frogs left on this Slayer assignment. I'm going to go ahead and get these done. I'm just going to do some mining and smithing for an AFK activity tonight while I either play some Call of Duty, or I might just cook some food and hang out. But just going to be doing this for the time being, get some of those levels up, and I'm using bronze arrows right now, so I want to upgrade those to either iron or steel. So I'll see where mining and smithing gets me tonight. But for the time being, thank you for joining, and like and subscribe. Thank you.